Welcome back to Movies That Matter, the podcast where entertainment is subjective, and that's not a bad thing. I'm Chris Flaherty, and thank you for joining us from the podcast studio at Burlington Cable Access Television. Today we'll be discussing an indie favorite of mine and my guests. It is The First Time, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in January 2012, and then received a limited theatrical release on October 19th later that year. It was written and directed by Jonathan Kasdan and stars Dylan O'Brien, Britt Robertson, and Victoria Justice. And now I would like to welcome my guest today, who is here to talk about the film with me, Margaret Schimpf, Senior Manager, Technical Onboarding, Media Ingest, and Governance at Paramount Global, and a 2012 graduate of Quinnipiac University. Marge, my friend, how are you?
I'm great, Chris. Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's nice to have a fellow Bobcat on the show.
Yeah, this is very exciting.
Yeah, you're not the
first podcast, too.
Your first podcast, wow. You're not the first QU alum on the show, but you are the first QFS alum on the show.
I'm honored.
So,
I really am.
Feather in the cap for you. So we get to travel back to our first Sundance trip today.
Well, it's actually my second.
Oh, it was your... Okay, all right.
But it was your first.
It was my first. Yeah, It was baby's first Sundance. We'll talk more about Sundance later, because I know there's a lot of Sundance news going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
But to this movie that has stayed near and dear to our hearts, Marge, in your own words, to start us off, can you tell us what this film is about?
So, when I was preparing for this, I was struggling a little bit trying to come up with what this film was about, because I've seen it a million times and I never really thought about that. I was just like, it's a great movie, I love it. But in the simplest terms, this is what I wrote down. Okay. Boy meets girl. Boy and girl have whirlwind weekend. Things get messy, but they come out on the other side together.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Good. That's good. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up it was the weekend, because it still blows my mind that all that happened in one weekend.
It honestly, when I was taking my notes, for so long, I knew it was a weekend, but I didn't know the exact dates. If it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I noticed there was one scene where I was watching and they were like, oh, it's a Sunday night. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, so it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It actually clicked for me. And I was like, wow, that's a very short amount of time.
I always thought there was a time jump between, I forget, the night they went to the movies and then the morning after where he is with her and his sister at the playground. I always thought some time had passed, but then I was like, oh no, it's still the same weekend.
Yeah, literally that was the same night into the morning. Yeah,
that was crazy.
I know.
So Marge, do you remember the first time you heard about this film?
I do.
Okay.
And prior to this film and Sundance and everything, I had been a huge fan of Dylan O'Brien from Teen Wolf. Again, the show, not the Michael J. Fox 80s Wolf movie. And so I'd been a big fan of that show, and he's actually one of my favorite characters on that show. He's just so funny and just quirky and just hilarious. And, he's easy on the eyes. So, so I remember hearing some rumblings about it, just kind of following him as a fan, and I was like, oh, this is definitely a movie that's up my alley. This is I'm a big fan of the rom-coms, romance kind of movies. So I was like, I think this is interesting. And then when I realized that it was going to be coming out at Sundance when we were going, I was like, oh, I have to get a ticket for this. I think it was the one movie that I was like, I don't really care what else I see. This was the one that I had to see.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I definitely knew about it, like I said, ahead of time, just following him. Also, I think, like I said, with the, romance movies, big fan of that stuff. I'm also, which I'll obviously talk about a lot later, I am a huge John Hughes fan and very much into the, teen romance, teen experience movies, and nobody did it better than him. So I was kind of getting that little bit of a vibe of John Hughes from seeing trailers about this or just reading info. So I was like, I'm interested. Sign me up.
Awesome.
So yeah,
I was thinking about John Hughes earlier today because this is the 40th anniversary of The Breakfast Club this weekend as we're recording. Yeah. Do you want to stop and talk about a different? Do you want to stop and talk about The Breakfast Club instead?
Listen, that is my favorite. I'll say it on this podcast because we're talking about movies. That is my favorite movie of all time.
Okay, that's next time.
That's next time. We can absolutely talk about The Breakfast Club. I probably have pages of notes.
Okay,
somewhere.
Perfect. Yeah, we should clarify that we were very lucky that our college allowed us to go to Sundance for a few years.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And it's funny, like we were talking about earlier, some of our friends from college, we all got together last night in the city and we were, catching up because we hadn't seen each other in a while.
Yeah.
It's I love that we're able to do that still, even after we've graduated 13, 14, 12 years later. Unfortunately, you live in Massachusetts, so you're too far away from us. But
I know.
That's okay. We'll do a bigger one. We're gonna plan that soon.
There's a train that goes straight into the city, half an hour away from my house. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make it happen.
Okay.
But we were actually talking about that last night, how lucky we are to have had that opportunity, and not only doing it as part of a class that one year, which we'll save that for another time.
Yeah.
The fact that we were able to do it as a film society first, and that was our main thing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
People don't get to do that.
No.
And it was such a great experience.
I forgot it was just a film society thing for years, and then my first year was when they made it the senior seminar.
Yep.
And then I don't know if they go at all anymore.
I don't know. I know that they only did the class thing for a year. So we were talking about that last night too, and we were saying we were trying to remember the timeline of it because it was obviously QFS, and then I think the person who brought it into QFS, she was like, "I'm leaving. I don't know who's gonna take this on," and then they decided to put it into the class. That kind of changed things for us, right? Because it was our thing, and then
sure.
But then I think it was only after a year because then one of our friends was like, no, this needs to be back with us. So it only lasted a year, but still lucky that we were able to go and experience it, no matter how it was.
Yeah, and what a class that we experienced together.
That was
some of the things that we had to watch for that class.
For any of those listeners, if you are ever interested in a movie that makes Chris really sore,
stop.
It's called Window Water Baby Moving.
Stop.
And it is a home birth. That's it. That's all I need to say. It's home birth, and it's documentary style. But our professor, love him to death, was like, "This is art."
Damn you, Stan Brakhage.
We were like, "No." The squeals I heard from you, I'm like, Chris is gonna have a meltdown.
I know. I just remember everyone after class was like, "Wow, Chris really loved that."
I just remember you were like, "Oh my god!" That was something.
It was something. Yeah. Oh, it's core trauma unlocked right there.
Oh yeah. Trauma bonding. That's what we have. We have trauma.
We trauma bonded through Stan Brakhage films. I got it. We have to get off that subject. Let's go back to the first time. Do you remember the first time we watched this film?
As vividly as if it happened yesterday.
Perfect. Honestly. Yeah.
So, background. At first, you weren't going to be going with me. Do you remember this?
No, I was going to say, I don't remember how I got a ticket for this film, but okay, you do, so go.
I do. So, like I said in the beginning, I wanted this movie from the beginning. That's what I knew I wanted going into this Sundance trip. I had talked to Allie about it, our friend Allie, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll go with you." And then we booked the ticket together because we bought the packages ahead of time and all that. And then got closer to the trip, and I don't know if it was at the trip or right before it. She realized that she had booked another movie at the same time. And she wanted to see that one over this one, and I was like, ugh. Okay. So I was like, well, I'm still going. I was like, we need somebody else to go with us. So I guess you were probably the first person we asked
Yeah.
To say, like, do you want to go in place of Allie? And you were game. So.
And the rest is
That's how you
history.
got your ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not remember how I got this ticket. And for folks that don't know, it's kind of like a bidding war to get tickets for movies at Sundance.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's kind of stressful. I think that was almost more stressful than our senior projects.
Yeah.
Here's a bit of gotcha journalism for you. Do you remember who was in the theater with us?
Chris, are you serious?
I'm sorry. I had to bring it up.
I have a whole paragraph that I was going to tell our listeners about exactly what happened that day.
Go for it. Go for it.
Subsequently. So, again, if anyone's ever interested in hearing about Chris having a meltdown, here's another example. Okay. So, we were in the movie. It wasn't a premiere. I think it was like the second showing after the premiere. Because I remember being super bummed that I couldn't see Dylan O'Brien in person. That's obviously would have been my dream at the time.
Yeah.
But we were at the movie and we were sitting pretty close to the front, I think.
Yeah.
Too. And so in our row, we were just like sitting there. I don't think the movie had started or it hadn't. I don't remember. But we kept looking down like to the left of us. And there was somebody famous down there. We couldn't figure out who it was. We were like, there's somebody, because there's like people around this person. We're like, it's someone famous. We couldn't figure it out. Watch the movie. Everything's great. Like, that person's still there. Still didn't figure it out. After the movie was over, we still had no idea. Got back to our house, and we were doing some sleuthing online.
Yep.
And we figured it out.
We figured it out. And who was it?
So, listeners, if you know Chris Flaherty, you know how much he loves Captain America, correct? Okay. So, no, this was not Chris Evans.
I know. I was like, don't bait them like that.
It was not Chris Evans.
Yeah.
It was the current Captain America, Anthony Mackie.
It was Anthony Mackie. Before he even was the Falcon, either.
Yup.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like at that time, what he was in, that we knew him.
I think it was just the Hurt Locker at that point.
Oh,
yeah.
You're right.
That's what I knew him from. I had not seen 8 Mile yet, so I didn't remember him from 8 Mile. Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot he was an 8 Mile. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was definitely Hurt Locker then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so subsequently when we figured that out, Chris was not happy that we didn't say anything.
I was like 5 feet away from Anthony Mackie, and I didn't even realize it. Well, I realized it, but you didn't believe me.
But then, so when did the first Captain America come out? The second one, actually, because he was in the second one, not the first one.
It was, the first one was 2011, and then 2014 is when he was in the second one.
So would he have been like, would there have already been like talks of him being in the second one as a Falcon yet? Or
January 2012, maybe? I don't know. Because the first Avengers hadn't even come out yet.
True.
Which is bizarre to think about.
Yeah. Like, I guess, like, I was just thinking about that. Like, I didn't know if any of the Captain Americas had come out yet, but I guess, like you said, it was like Hurt Locker or, something like that. So he was big then, but like not what he is now.
Now he'll never talk to me.
Also, continuing this story.
Yeah.
So after we realized, we freaked out. We were like, oh my God, Anthony Mackie. We realized that he was actually, he was one of the Institute judges that year.
Right.
That's why he was there. So that's why he was at the movie watching it. And then, like, towards the end of the festival, like, when we were there, the seniors, because that was my senior year, we got to go to the, like, after party, the awards after party thing. And I remember he was there. And I was like, I can't let another opportunity go by. Like, I was just sitting next to him, like, 3 days ago. But I was too chicken. I didn't go up to him. Tom did. And, yeah. So, not going to say anything about his encounter because I don't want to, say any ill will about anybody. But he basically was just like,
Okay. That's fine. Never meet heroes, I guess.
Yeah. Unless your hero is Daniel Radcliffe. Me.
You can't just casually drop that in.
I'm sorry. I have to. He is the hero everyone should meet because he is a nice human being.
Well, yeah, he's a very nice person from what I've heard from you. So back to the first time. What really sticks out with you, or what really stuck out with you when you first watched it?
So I think kind of what I touched on earlier is I'm a big fan of like romance movies and like those rom-com, like feel good, happy ending, kind of movies. Mm-hmm. And again, bringing up John Hughes because I'll bring him up forever.
Sure.
It just really resonated with the type of movies that he created, the type of movies that I've always liked that he made, and I don't know. It was just that's really what kind of stuck with me. Mm-hmm. And I think this movie is, like one of the things John Hughes would do really well is take that like raw teenage experience and like put it into a story, and wasn't anything like, it wasn't fake or phony. Like it was very much like teenagers and their real issues. Mm-hmm. And something like this, like being like in an intimate relationship for the first time, that's pretty raw and messy.
Yeah.
So like it's, it kind of like, it was very, what's the word I'm looking for? It was very similar, right, to those movies. And I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely an experience that like teenagers go through, and it's stinks, but it's just it is what it is, So it's it fits one of those, it's that genre that I really enjoy and kind of grew up loving.
Yeah.
So.
And that sort of leaded into one of my questions, like, how is this film, like, reflective of, like, your general taste in movies? And you just mentioned, like, John Hughes movies are, like, your big thing.
They're my big thing. I have a bunch of books and things that I've collected over the years of just, like, about him, his movie-making process, and, like, how he did what he did, and like how the actors and actresses that he worked with, like how much they respected him for how he would treat them. Like he would treat them like people. Like he wouldn't treat them as kids. He was like, these people have their experiences, and I want to portray those on screen.
And even I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
Well, I remember when he passed away. And then at the Oscars, they had a big thing honoring him, and all the actors were on stage, like Macaulay Culkin, Judd Hirsch, Matthew Broderick, and they really just spoke a lot about how he treated them, especially Macaulay. Like, he never saw me as a kid; he just saw me as an actor. Yeah,
right. And I mean, they had so much respect for him, and like I was saying, like the movies that he made, not all of them had happy endings. I think most of them did, but like. In the middle, there was always like some, kind of crazy, messy, emotional stuff going on.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, not to throw a fun trivia question and trivia note in, but
well, we're gonna jump around. So
you're talking about The Breakfast Club before, right?
Yeah.
So that is, like I said, probably my favorite movie of all time. If not number one, it's top three. And the whole scene, and this might be like public knowledge, I don't know, but the whole scene where they're kind of after, it's like middle of the day and they're not like talking about like why they're in detention and things like that. That entire thing was improv.
I think I heard about that before, but I forgot about that. Yeah.
I think he was kind of just like let them. He probably gave them like a storyline, like okay, like what's his face, Emilio Estevez, like he was in for doing his thing with the the sports thing, and then like so he probably gave them like like little bits of information and told them to just kind of run with it. And like that scene is like one of the best scenes in the whole movie. Yeah. It's like the turning point, right? Because it's like everything changes after that. They become like friends.
Yeah, no, they're humanized in that moment.
Right. That's a good word. Yep. Yeah. Humanized.
And then Marge, forgive me, it's been a while since I watched The Breakfast Club, but isn't there like a very serious moment where like Anthony Michael Hall's character reveals some pretty dark stuff? Yeah.
During that scene, actually, he, because he's the smartest of the group.
Yeah.
And he was failing one class. And there was a lot of pressure from his parents. And he just couldn't take that pressure. So he was, was going to do something that wasn't great. But what kind of turned it around and like lightened it was the fact that it was a flare gun, which I don't know that would do any damage to anybody. Because it just has like, it's a flare. It's intended for shooting up in the air to signal somebody. So that's what kind of turned it around. And I think, like you said, the humanized, like that was the end of the scene. And that's when they were all like, okay, well, we're all teenagers. We've all got this like messed up stuff going on in our heads. Like we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
So.
And I remember like we learned about Dave in the first time, like he doesn't have a very perfect background. Like his father's not in the picture. Like he has a stepsister or a half sister that he kind of like takes a lot of responsibility in raising. Oh my God, Aubrey or Audrey? That kept messing me up last night. Aubrey. I mean, I think her family life is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like, I think, it was definitely more like Dave, like you said, like his dad isn't around. His dad has like a whole new family, and then his half sister is, he takes care of her because the dad was in drugs or something like that. So, that's heavy stuff too. And like he feels a lot of responsibility for her, and like going away to college is really like weighing heavily on him because, he's going to be across the country and, she'll be here. So,
no, I think Aubrey's biggest baggage is Ronnie.
Ugh. I took notes. When I was taking notes, one of my notes, I'm not even joking you. Actually, there were two that I needed to say. One is Ronnie sucks, and I put sucks in all caps.
Yeah. And
then the other one I put towards the end was, it was like around that same time. Ronnie and Jane deserve each other.
So you're anti-Jane. Okay.
She's just like, she's so self-absorbed, just like he is. Like
she doesn't get it.
See what's right in front of her.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's like it's this perfect guy, and she's saying, she's like, oh, he's a perfect guy, but like she doesn't see him past anything else. Just like he's this guy that I could talk to.
Yeah, I do. So, I hate Ronnie, but he has some really funny lines in this movie.
Drain the Lil Wayne is like,
yeah, where the hell?
It's like, that's one of my favorite quotes. I wrote that down.
And then
I'm gonna go drain a little Wayne.
What is it? He's like, we were gonna do it last weekend, but I had the flu.
Yeah.
Or like,
and his band name,
the John Cusack Experience. Yep. And like again, like it's okay to swear sometimes on this show, but I love when he's on the phone with her, and he's like, I'm so sick of all this negative energy in my life. My mom, that judgmental bitch. I just crack up. I'm like, wow, dude.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's like crying. He's like,
yeah. Oh, and then he's like, it's been a whole day, and I don't know who I am without you. I'm like, and then that was kind of like, wow, it's been like a weekend for these kids.
This guy needs help.
He needs a lot of help. Adult. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's living in his car, just based on the one shot of him in the car. Yeah.
Oh, like they're talking about they were actually going to do it that weekend. He's like, I gotta move my kick drum.
Yeah, his kick drum.
So they're gonna do it in their van. Like, what a bum.
Yeah, I love what the British guy says. Like, I think whoever said you should be yourself has never met Ronnie.
That is also one of my favorite quotes that I wrote down.
So many good quotes. Let's just like any more favorite quotes that stick out in your memory.
Oh, do I? Yes.
Yeah, just go run down the list. Honestly.
All right. So this one's like I'll just go down the list. Okay. I'm a junior, not a moron.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
The one you just said, I think whoever said you should always be yourself obviously never met Ronnie. One of my favorites now is when they're in the diner and after Dave has like tried to find Aubrey like in the phone book or whatever. And he was like, LaShonda says that there's like 445 Millers in this county, and little English guy goes, "What the shit's a LaShonda?" Like, that's so good.
It's so good.
Drain the Lil Wayne, we talked about that. Then some of these other ones are a little bit like more serious, I guess. So like when Dave says, "You dig me," I just think that's so cute. Like,
yeah, no, that was cute. Yeah.
And then the one where the kids are those kids in the car, like when they meet those kids for the first time, and then like later on they're in that accident.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but keep going.
Yeah, the one quote that the one guy says, he says, "Don't apologize for who you are and who you're not."
Yeah, that should be on a T-shirt.
Yeah, it should be on a T-shirt. And then the last one, which is, well, there was two. The one is beginning, you mean Friday.
Yeah.
So little English guy says that. But then probably like my new favorite one, and I think this time watching it, I realized Big Corporation is probably like my favorite character.
Big Corporation is the GOAT of this movie, I feel like.
Because he doesn't say much.
No.
It's just like this big presence that's just there. And like if he does say something, it's very profound.
Yes.
So like I actually had written this quote down as like almost like the summary of what the movie's about, because it kind of like summed it up pretty well. It was sex one time, the first time. You don't know anything from that. And I was just like, wow, Big Corporation. Like, football has not gone to your head. No,
football has not gone to his head.
So he's definitely my favorite character, I think. And yeah, those are pretty much all the ones I had, I think. I mean, there were others, but like those were my top ones.
Yeah.
What about you? You have some other one?
Everything about that Ronnie really says. Also, I love like Ronnie's commentary on Big Corporation's name. And so I get it, because you're big and you're destroying everything. And then like everyone's just like, yep. It's not really a quote, but I love when like I can't remember his name, little British guy like tries to go and fight Ronnie, and then Big Corporation just picks him up, puts him down, and goes, "Behave."
Yes, that's such a good.
And I'm like, perfect. Yeah. So many like funny scenes. Like I love when like after they first meet and he has to jump off the roof.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
And he makes it out okay, which is is nice.
He has to like check himself everywhere to make sure that nothing is broken. That was funny. Yeah. Oh.
I do.
The other thing I really love about this movie is the music.
The music is very good.
Like I remember the one song at the end when they're in the car, like, you know, and they're listening to the mix. She's driving him to school. That one song that she plays on the CD, I had forgotten how much I loved that song. And then when I watched it the other day, I was like, it just like came rushing back, and I was like, oh man, that's such a good song. So, yeah, this movie.
Yeah, even back when we first watched it, and this is total film nerd moment, the lighting really stuck out to me. Just even like in the alley in the first scene. Yeah. And that first scene was like really did a great job of establishing the two characters and like what their journey is. Oh, I forgot about one of my favorite ones where like Aubrey's trying to like explain her situation to Dave, and she's like, "I have a dude." I'm like, yeah, that's high school dating right there. I have a dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. But yeah, you're right. I agree with that. Like it's the lighting, was very, very good, and like it just everything. Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. It's a solid.
Because like the colors are almost like a little oversaturated, but not too much. Yeah. Like it gives like that sort of like that classic John Hughes, like, you know, stylizing high school drama and stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's the best. John Hughes. Yeah. No one else can do it like John Hughes. I'm sorry. I'll say it forever.
That's fine. No, so your next episode is Breakfast Club. I get it.
Yeah. I have a giant poster in my bedroom at my parents' house of the letter that they wrote, and it has all of them. It's just that was actually the first rated R movie I ever saw too.
Really? Mine was My Boss's Daughter, starring Ashton Kutcher and Tara Reid.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was probably something.
The things we spend our money on when we're younger.
This one, honestly, I saw it at camp.
Oh, really?
By accident. Yeah, and like thinking back on it being rated R, I'm like, I mean, back then I get it because the cursing and stuff, but now, like, that would be like PG-13, like maximum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, like, I guess I was like one of the older campers, like my group was, and we were with one of the counselors, and like they were watching it or something. I don't know, but I was like, oh,
okay.
So.
And that sort of leads into my next question, because I know you've watched the first time so many times. Any specific times that you viewed it throughout the years that really stick out in your memory? Like watching it with a certain person, or like a certain day when you just needed a pick-me-up?
So I think there are two. So the first one is, I have to say, the first time we saw it, because I mean, seeing it for like live, just like right after it came out at Sundance, like, and we had a Q&A with the director afterwards, like,
yes,
nothing could have been better than that, you know? That was like the experience. And then the second one, I'd probably say the first time I was able to watch it when the DVD showed up after months of agonizing waiting. I was like, oh, sweet Jesus, I can finally watch this at home. Yeah, exactly. There's just the agonizing time that we had to wait. But, yeah.
So you have this DVD, right?
I sure do.
Okay. So one thing, I mean, we support physical media here. One thing I love about having old DVDs is watching the previews for movies that have just completely vacated the public conscious.
Yeah.
And if you and I have the same DVD, you probably saw some of the same previews I saw.
I might have skipped them this time.
Oh, that's going to scratch the disc, Marge. Don't do that.
Oh, really? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, I am super OCD about my discs. Ashley hates me because of that. Like, we're going to watch all the previews. We're going to let the credits roll. We're just going to let the DVD do its thing.
I will say, like, I haven't bought a DVD in a long time, and I know we're going to talk about physical media, but sure. I haven't bought one in a while. But when I used to buy one, first time I would ever watch it, I would watch every preview. No, every time I would always watch the previews. Even if there were movies I've already seen, I was like, need to watch previews. But yeah, now I don't.
Damn. Well, sometimes there's no previews on DVDs anymore, which is kind of sad. Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, but also sometimes they don't let you skip them.
Yeah. No, like, I'm here to watch them, but like, give me a choice.
I was watching Little Giants recently, and I tried to skip it, and it just kept saying like prohibited. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I just gotta watch them. So,
and a lot of DVDs now, like they'll play like 10 to 12 special features automatically after the movie. And like sometimes
really?
Yeah, like I've had like mostly like Sony movies, I find they do that. And like I like special features, but sometimes I want to go to bed. So like I remember like I was watching like Spider-Verse on Blu-ray, and there were so many special features after it, and to the point where I just left the room and went and did other stuff, and I was just like checking on the TV every now and then, like, oh, still going, okay. Just let the DVD do its thing.
Go on.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes I cave and I hit main menu and shut the DVD off. But anyway, that is probably.
I'm curious to see what your discs look like if you don't skip anything.
I try not to. No, it's very good. I remember when Blu-rays first came out, and they're like, they're 5 times more durable than DVDs. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still not skipping anything.
Don't care.
Yep. Nope. I'm gonna respect the credits. So this kind of is perfect segue into this question. So this film received very limited release outside of Sundance, and as of right now, like the only way like I was gonna watch it was with this, because like I think it was on Tubi, and like you could rent or buy it for like a couple bucks on some sites, but it was not like readily available anywhere. And there's definitely this like epidemic in the industry where like media is often held behind paywalls, or sometimes things are just pulled right offline and we never see them again. What do you think? What's your take on all this?
So I kind of have like sort of like two sides to it, because one, on the physical like media side of it, like growing up, like obviously like that's all we had, like that's what we knew, and that was the best quality that we could get, right, was the DVD. And it was just like a getting that like from the theatrical release like to it coming out was like this wait, and like you knew you were gonna get it, you could bring it home, like it was a whole thing, right? And that was like the part of the like experience, I feel like having that at home, you know, viewing. What I'll say is, as much as I love the physical media, I just feel like nowadays the technology for, you know, like DVDs, Blu-rays, things like that isn't up to standard with how TVs and like all that is actually like portraying these, right? Because like I was watching, you know, the movie the other day, and obviously it's an SD DVD, like I know that, but it, you know, on my 4K 65-inch television didn't look great, you know? So I just feel like, while I respect it, right, I do, and I have tons of DVDs, like they'll never get rid of, I just feel like the two aren't aligned as far as like the technology and the physical media, like they haven't caught up to each other, you know what I mean? Like, but then on the other side of things, like I work for a company that has a huge streaming. Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, you're skirting the line here.
So like, you know, obviously, like I watch tons of stuff on streaming, and the quality, yes, there's buffering, obviously, but like you can't avoid that. Yeah. But like the quality is just, it's so good, and you know, even like at work, I'm filming this on my laptop right now. Nice. But at work, like some of the content that we get in is like UHD, like 4K stuff, and it's huge, and it's the quality is just unmatched. So I'm kind of like, I see both sides to it, you know. No,
but, we had a movie night here at work where we were going to show How to Train Your Dragon. And I didn't have a Blu-ray for it yet. I just had my DVD from like 2011. And like we were like, why don't we just hook our laptop up and play it on Netflix? And I hate to say it, but the quality difference was like really stark. Yeah. And that's when I went home and bought it on Blu-ray.
Immediately later.
Yeah, because I'm like, this is one of my favorite movies. I can't do this.
I feel like I need to buy it then. Yeah. I don't have it either. And I watched it the other day and I cried. Well, I texted you. And you're like, have you never seen this before?
Because I got nervous. I'm like, what?
Oh, no. It was, you thought I saw the new one.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Because like, I was like, does Paramount have an in?
I don't have that many.
I know. Well, then I was like, well, no, Paramount, Universal. All right.
Yeah. No.
I calmed down. I'm like, okay, she's just watching the original.
Top Gun I was able to see before it came out, though. Yeah. That was a fun movie. Yeah. That was a fun time.
Yeah, I texted you after I got out of the theater and I cried. And I'm like, wow, that was just cinema.
I'm like, even to this day, I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. And I never have been. That could be a podcast for another time. It has nothing to do with his movies. It has everything to do with his affiliations. We won't get into that. Sure. But, that movie, like, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. It was just so good. And it was just so well thought out. Yeah. And, like, it did such justice to the first one that I was like, dude, I can watch this over and over and over again and never get sick of it.
That's a movie you need to see on the big screen, too. Oh,
when we saw it, because we have, like, a small, like, theater in our office in New York. And I guess, like, we can rent it out for different things. Or people use it for, like, screenings and things like that. But I guess, like, employees can rent it out and, like, have viewings of things. So my friend at work, she did that for us and, like, you know, had it set up. And I mean, for all those viewers, if you have not seen Top Gun Maverick, like, you are doing yourself a disservice, because it is just full of action, full of heart. Like, it is just so good. Like, right from the beginning. And, like, the theater, because it was so much smaller, like, the scenes where, especially the one where he's like taking off in the beginning, was so loud. Like the theater was rattling.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. But you can't get an experience like that, I feel like, outside of a movie theater.
Right. And where's Top Gun Maverick streaming, March?
Paramount Plus.
Got him. I'll expect my check in the mail.
Gotta plug it.
Wow.
Paramount Plus. Includes Showtime.
Include Showtime. Not always, though. Right?
Not always. Depends
Not
on
always.
your tier.
You need the plug-in. Yeah. Back to the first time. I wanted to ask you about what your take was on the car crash scene. Because I still don't know what's going on there.
So, I think... I was kind of thinking about this. I was like, I wonder if we were able to talk about this. But I didn't write anything down. But I don't know. It was like an interesting... Like... I feel like it was, again, one of those, like... say John Hughes, but like it was one of those like things that unfortunately happens to teenagers when they're irresponsible. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're drinking and driving or like things like that. And it was kind of like showing that, you know, in the beginning, like you saw they were looking for a party and like everything was innocent or whatever, but like you could kind of tell like they were definitely like something was going on, like they were partying or whatever. But then, like, later on, you see, like, what happened, and it's really sad. And it's, like, it affected Aubrey, obviously, and Dave. But it was almost like, you know, showing that side of being irresponsible as a teenager. You know? So, that's kind of what it's sad. Like, it's, you know, and you don't, you never want to see that ever. I think that's what like they were trying to show. There.
I sort of like thought like, okay, so life is like so fleeting, like it can be gone in such a quick flash, and I don't know. It's right after that is when like Aubrey like kisses Dave and they finally get together, and I'm like, I don't know if that like sort of like awoken something in her, because like she knows like he's going away, like he's a senior. So she should just take advantage of the moment right now. And she goes on a little bit about how, like, she's afraid of, like, being able to take on the world, the larger world, when she grows up. So. No,
that's actually a good analysis of that. I think I would agree with that. Like, life is so short and fleeting, like, you know, kind of just, you know, live it. So, and I think even, like, thinking about it, too, like, those kids, when they were talking to them in the beginning, like you were saying, like life's fleeting, but like those kids were definitely like living life to the fullest. Right? Like I could just tell like they were like they loved their friends, they were just having a great time, looking for a party, like, you know. It's like they were living their life. Unfortunately, like, you know, something irresponsible may have happened, but you know, but then again, you remember like, life is short. And, you know, it's...
And then, it, like, if you think about it, if Dave and Aubrey got in the car with them, like, what could have happened? I don't know. What do you think? No, go ahead.
So, wait, so, like, that was... So, again, with the timeline...
I think it was the next night, but still, like...
But still, like, they may have been driving around the whole time.
Yeah, that could have happened at any time. So.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think this film does not necessarily better or worse, but what do you think it does differently than other coming-of-age films?
I don't think it sugarcoats anything. Because I feel like sometimes you see those, like, and there's a lot of, like, unrealistic scenarios that, like, these teenagers might be in, and you're just, like, by the end, you're like, okay, yay, like, you know, happy ending, but like that whole journey was kind of like, does that ever happen to anody in real life? You know, like something like this is like, you know, Dave is raised by a single mom. He like takes his youngest sister under his wing. Like he has his whole life planned ahead of him. He wants to go to Columbia. He wants to be a teacher. Like sometimes I feel like you hear these movies, like these coming of age movies, and they're like, I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be like, it's almost like unrealistic. Not that it's not unrealistic, but very like, big dreams kind of thing, where he's just like, this is what I want to do. This is what I know I want to do. I want to teach where there's a need. And it's like, it's just very like, I don't know, it's more realistic to me. Like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. And like, I feel like in like another movie, like when they finally like had sex, like there would be like some like grand music and stuff. And then like immediately afterwards, they'd be like on cloud nine, skipping around like, yeah, we did it. Pun not intended. But no, like this film really shows us like, no, it doesn't work like that.
No.
These are kids doing it for the first time. It's not going to be perfect.
They literally have no idea what they're doing.
Literally. And I appreciate like the little like awkward back and forth afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
They really play off that awkwardness.
Yes.
Even like afterwards, but even during it, right? Because like after she, kind of gets out of the bed and they like start, preparing themselves, there's no music.
No.
Right? So like you hear nothing except them just like under the covers and like Dave actually putting on the condom. Like you literally hear that,
Yeah.
And there's like there's such like an awkwardness there, because like that's what it is. It's not this glorified like, magical thing.
Yeah.
And, like you said at the end, after that, they're just kind of like, okay. like
all right. And like they cut to black, so thankfully we don't see anything. And then like they go right to the aftermath, and like I mean, for all we know, like it lasted 2 minutes. Who knows?
Yeah. I never really understood like what exactly happened because, like, I don't know, they never really go into it too much. Like they kind of allude to what may have gone wrong, but like I don't know. You never actually find out like why it wasn't the greatest experience or like what happened or like the little Englishman later on is like, do you think the problem is like you're just really
that is also another one of my favorite lines. And then he's like, do you want me to look at it? And I'm like like bro,
it's like no thank you.
But I don't think we need to know what happens like because like
and that's the thing, like I feel like all this time, like I think watching this movie so many times I'm always like I want to know specifically what happened, but I think that was the point of it.
Right.
Like, it just didn't work. Like, it just wasn't glamorous at all. Like, it was just, like, probably very quick and, like, just, nothing crazy and, like, probably not comfortable for either of them. So, and, like, they literally just met each other, like, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a copy of his test results.
Yeah. Oh my God. That kept driving me crazy.
He's not safe.
Yeah.
We don't know. But that was funny because she was like, I don't have a copy of your test results. He's like, I'm a virgin.
And then she's like, you could still get like stuff.
She was like, you could still get like diseases. And then his face was like his eyes just like.
He's like, I could.
Shit.
But back to where you're coming about the awkwardness, like, I don't. It's in credit to the script, but it's also in credit to the performances. Like you can feel the teenage awkwardness oozing through the screen. Not even just during that moment. Like I just feel like all the interactions the entire time.
Yeah.
Like they have really great chemistry, Robertson and O'Brien.
So that was actually one of the things I wrote down was like right off the bat when they're having their conversation in the alley, like it was just like banter. Like it didn't even feel like they were acting. Like they were just like having a conversation. And the two of them actually dated for a very long time after this movie.
Scandal.
Yeah. She's married to somebody else now, but yeah, their chemistry was just so good. And like I said, there's a lot of awkwardness, right? But then also I feel like the way that they were able to interact with each other was like very effortless.
Yeah. Just a very natural back and forth.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
What do you think happens after the credits roll? Do you think they stay together?
I do. I think that they work it out. I think that, listen, do I think they get married? I don't know about that. But, and I don't even know if you can consider them high school sweethearts either because they don't even go to the same school.
Right.
They met each other at a party by accident, you know? So I definitely think that they continued on, probably date for, a year, something, maybe. He goes to Colombia, probably meets a nice hipster in New York, moves to Brooklyn, like, lives there, still teaches at Columbia now,
Nice.
Got the whole life mapped out. And then she's...
She wants to travel, so...
Yeah, maybe she's living in Madrid.
Yeah.
She's, I don't know. That was actually one of the things that I wrote down as... I think I'm only realizing this now, after my millionth rewatch, is when they're in the movie theater and they're talking to each other. Like, they both left the movie and they're just, sitting in the lobby talking. And, they're both starting to realize, there is something there. Because she's not paying attention around. She's watching him in the movie. He's watching her. Even though Jane is, basically trying to hold his hand.
Yeah.
Ronnie's just sitting there like a mope. So, there's... The two of them are paying attention to each other and not who they're with. And then, when they come out and they're talking, and she just randomly, she feels comfortable enough to say that she wants to travel. And then she starts telling, the whole story about her, her uncle in Madrid and everything. And then he's just sitting there listening to her.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the quotes he says. He's like, I was just listening to you, and I want to go with you. It was just... And, again, having Ronnie, and then him not being with Jane, again, the two of them don't listen to them. But they're listening to each other. So I think that's kind of when they realize, I think there's something here. So... Yeah, but that's my favorite.
Okay.
I think, though.
Any other trivia or fun facts?
Did I write down any trivia? I only had one.
Okay.
This was a nominee for the Grand Jury Prize.
Oh, nice.
That year. Which is, the highest award you can get at Sundance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I learned last night that apparently you can see Aubrey a few times in the opening montage before you actually we meet her. Yeah, but you don't see her face, but she's in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
you see her bag and everything. Yeah.
So guess I'm rewatching this tonight.
Well, I'm watching The Breakfast Club. I don't know about you, but
I don't know. I got so many things I have to watch. Why do you think we don't see a lot of films like this anymore?
I feel like nowadays, the larger blockbuster movies are just better sellers, and people are just, they want that action and I'm trying to think of the...
It's all IP and brands now.
Yes. Yeah. And what I had written here was that there isn't as much originality. We've talked about this in our film chat. They're doing so many remakes of things these days. There's no originality on things, and everything just feels like it's the same. And nobody's, I don't know, I feel like nobody's writing stories like this anymore.
Yeah, but I think
John Hughes is gone.
Yeah, John Hughes is gone. But I think teenagers would really benefit from films like this.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Back in the 80s when you had 16 Candles and you had Breakfast Club and you had St. Elmo's Fire is not high school, but those were those true experiences. And this one is it's very real. You could meet somebody at a party randomly and then you're just oh, this dude's cool. So I definitely think that this, maybe not for this direct generation because it did come out in 2012, but I think they could make something like this and kind of update it a little bit more, and it would definitely resonate with teenagers today.
Yeah.
But I feel now the moneymakers are the big blockbusters and the IPs, like you said, that's what people are paying money for.
Yeah. And I mean, as we know, not every film that comes out at Sundance gets a life outside of the festival circuit. Circuit, not the first circus. Not every film, the first time, can find life outside of a festival. Why do you think it's important for people to try and attend film festivals like Sundance, if they can, or just any film festival, really?
I think it's really paying tribute to like the artists and like seeing those movies and like the, you know, those, a lot of the movies that I've seen at Sundance over the years, like some of the best movies I've seen like ever. And it's honestly a shame that a lot of them don't get to see the light of day, where they have, you know, they're just like streaming online and you have to pay for it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I feel like it's, I wrote something down about this. Oh yeah. So I think that a lot of these filmmakers, like these, you know, smaller filmmakers trying to like make it big, they do have a lot of really good stories. And, you know, it sucks that they can't, you know, make it to the big screen. But I think that by people going to these festivals and like word of mouth and like social media now, like really kind of spreads the, you know, would spread the word about these and kind of make them, you know, big. You know, I feel like if this had come out, you know, nowadays, I don't know if it would have had the same, you know, kind of like social media reach, but something similar to it, could have, and you know, could have had a release from there. But so it also goes back to like going to the movie theater. A lot of people don't like doing that anymore.
No, it's because of Minecraft. I blame Minecraft. Have you seen those videos?
I have not seen anything. I don't know anything about Minecraft.
Oh my god, they're like they're throwing popcorn and confetti and setting off fireworks. Someone snuck
in a movie.
In a movie, cops are being called. Someone brought an actual chicken into the movie theater, like a live chicken.
Why?
Because like there's some scene in the movie where it's like, I don't understand Minecraft, but there's like a character that rides a chicken. He's called like a chicken jockey. I don't know. I think Minecraft is going to destroy movie theaters forever. Anyway, do you remember any other films from Sundance that really stuck with you? Yeah,
actually. And we were, our friends and I were talking about this last night too. That year, that in 2012, two of the other big movies that came out that year in that festival were Queen of Versailles, which was a documentary.
Right. Yep.
And then Beasts of the Southern Wild, which went on to win. It didn't. I don't know if it won any Academy Awards, but it was the main actress. Forgot her name. Yeah. She was the youngest actress
ever. Yeah.
And like that's huge. You know, that's such a big deal. And like some of the other ones I was reading about were like Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yes.
I don't remember if you saw that one. Amy and I were talking about Black Rock, which I don't know if a lot of other people saw, but it had what's her name?
I remember. I think I remember it, but I don't remember who's in it or anything. Like that title sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Lake Bell, Kate Bosworth, and Katie Aselton. Katie Aselton was the one who directed it, and Mark Duplass actually wrote this. And it was dark. I mean, it was, you know, but it was really good. Allie and I saw it at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we were like, that was a mistake.
I need to.
Go ahead. VHS came out that year. What else? There's some other ones. Oh,
Celeste and Jesse with that might have been the following year. I don't know. Rashida Jones and Andy Samberg.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if that was in this one, but one of the ones that I saw that I loved, and I actually got to talk to the director afterwards, was a documentary called Chasing Ice. And it was about the polar ice caps melting. Okay. And this guy, he, I guess he's like an ice. He's a photographer, documentary filmmaker, whatever. But he actually like set up cameras up in Antarctica to like track and like watch over time as like ice was melting from the polar ice caps. And like ever since seeing that. Not that I thought climate change was a hoax to begin with, because it literally never was. But after seeing that, it like really, really changed my perspective on like how precious everything is on this earth, and like we are completely destroying its resources. Yeah. So and like talking to him he was so nice, and like, answered everyone's questions. It was, I think there was a Q&A too, like after I saw that one, with him. So yeah, that was a great documentary. Yeah.
This is jogging my memory because I'm remembering I have a few films on DVD that I saw at Sundance those years, but then there are some that I was like, wow, I forgot I saw that. Like, I don't remember its name, but I think it was like Emile Hirsch and like Paul Rudd on like some sort of road trip. I don't remember the name. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then there was the one with, oh my God, I hate that I can't remember the name. It's Aaron Paul and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And like, she's trying to stay sober, but Aaron Paul doesn't want to. I can't remember the name and it's killing me.
Oh. Don't worry, I got IMDb up over
Okay,
here.
great.
Right on my iPad. There was a movie called Music Never Stopped. I have that on DVD too. And I don't know if it was the premiere. It might have been when I saw it. And I remember Noah was so upset that I went because the remaining band members from the Grateful Dead were there because
I remember this.
The movie was about like this adult like son and then his father. Like the two of them have not had a good relationship, but like the son hasn't spoken in a while. Like he had some like kind of like medical issue, I don't remember, but like the only thing that gets them back to talking to each other again, like growing their relationship, is the Grateful Dead music, specifically what's that one song? It's gonna bother me, so now I gotta look it up. Hold on. I'll check that first, and then I'll check the Aaron Paul thing.
Gotta go back to Sundance.
We were talking about that last night, so offline we'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
But now it's in Boulder, Colorado. It's not in Park City anymore.
Well, yes. In 2027, it'll be in Boulder. Next year is the last year at Park City.
Yeah.
But then after that, yeah.
It's tragic.
I know. I don't know anything about Boulder, so I can't.
Neither do I.
So, but
I just feel sad because it's like Park City was Sundance.
I know. And it's true. And, I think, I don't remember who was saying it. It might have been, Noah said it yesterday. They got so much tourism, Park City.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, like, Park City is a huge ski resort. So, like, they'll be fine. Like, yeah, it's going to be, it'll definitely be a hit, but, like, they'll be okay.
Okay. And then Boulder, Colorado will flourish.
Will flourish, yes.
Yeah.
So you remember what year that was?
I think it might have been 2012, but it also might have been 2013. I'm not sure. They kind of blend together now.
You don't remember who was in it? Do you remember who was in it?
It was Aaron Paul and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And, like, she was a teacher, but, like, she was, like, an aggressive alcoholic. And so, like, she had to, like, get sober to, like, save her job. And, like, Aaron Paul was like, nah, I'm going to keep partying. And it kind of was, like, the deterioration of the relationship.
Interesting, yes. Smashed?
Smashed, yes. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Found it.
That is one I need to get on Blu-ray and DVD.
2011 was Take Shelter with Michael Shannon.
Yeah. Well, I remember that blew up. Yeah.
Great movie. Yeah, that was so good. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of these movies, like, you see, that we've seen on Sundance, like, a lot of them are so original. And I mean, listen, I haven't seen a movie that was at Sundance recently, but back then, like, these were just, original stories and just cool ideas and concepts that,
Yeah. And, like, as we're, like, remembering, there's so many that just don't get out of the festival.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Because, like we were saying, that these writers have such good stories to tell. And it's a shame, really. I mean, I don't know how it works, like, after they like, make something, and if it doesn't get past the festival, like, what happens to it?
Yeah, it sits on a hard drive or something. Yeah, I guess, which is sad. But thankfully, we have the first time on DVD now.
We do.
Yeah.
Actually, fun little fact about when we went in 2012, because me and Pete were talking about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So that trip, we met Anton Yelchin by accident.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and so our friend Jake was being funny, and he was like, it'd be really cool if we like sit on the sidewalk and pose for photos, but like we're not taking a photo, just to see like who would walk by, like walk in the frame, you know?
Yeah.
So like we did it for a few people, and just like people just walked by,
Mm-hmm.
like nobody cared. And then the only person that stopped and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," was Anton Yelchin. Like we didn't realize it until like a few seconds later, and Katie was like, "Oh my god," and she like chased him down the street. And you know, unfortunately he's no longer with us,
Yeah.
which is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like, I love telling that story because he was the only one that was like actually cared.
I remember like 2012 I didn't see any celebrities, and then 2013 was like my year. Like I saw.
Did you see what's his face from How I Met Your Mother?
No,
Or was that somebody else?
no, I never saw Josh Radnor, but
Josh
like
Radnor.
Amy
did.
Amy did, and she just like, you know, she rubbed it in my face for a few years. But it's okay. We saw Danny McBride on the streets.
Oh,
We saw the star of Entourage, Adrian Grenier. He didn't want anything to do with us. But I remember like the group, like I'm pretty sure it was like Katie and Amy, like they like thrusted me towards him to get, because like Chris has no problem talking to celebrities, so they like grabbed me like, "Chris, go get a picture with him." But he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of in a rush right now." I'm like, okay. And then I remember
Amy was telling this story about when they thought they met what's his face, Jon Snow, Kit Harington.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Kit.
It wasn't Kit.
Oh. It's such a funny story
Yeah.
because like the guy I think he like went along with it or something, and then like they saw him the next day or like in the daytime, and they were like, that is not
Kit Harington.
They like bought him a drink and everything. It's so funny. Oh my god!
I remember, like, I was waiting for Chris right outside a building because he had to go use the restroom, and then he like ran out and he like put his hands on my shoulders and he's like jumping. He's like, "I just took a piss next to James Franco," and I'm like, "Did you wash your hands?" I'm happy for you, but
oh my god! Wait, hold on. I just remembered one that I saw that actually like really. Okay, so this was a documentary I saw in 2011. It was called These Amazing Shadows. And it was about the importance of the National Film Registry and you know, basically talking about like, I think like a lot of the theme of it was like film archives and stuff, and like actually having a career out of that. And for a very long time, and it's still in my head, like I would not go back to school for that. Like I would consider it because NYU has a program. There's like 2 or 3 other schools that have a program, and it's like it's so legit. And like after seeing that movie, I was like, I would love to do this. Like,
what's it called?
These Amazing Shadows. And it was like, it was just so good because they, you know, talk about like all the archiving of all these old films, and like, oh, it was so good. I wonder if I could watch it somewhere.
Just looking right now, it looks like it's not available online anywhere.
Of course.
Here's a Morally Gray YouTube upload though. So I'll send you that link.
Okay, great.
It looks like it might be part of PBS now. So I don't know.
That would not surprise me. Oh wait, yes, you're right. It was broadcast on American television PBS series. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was distributed under the IFC.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll send you the link to that YouTube.
Thanks. I saw that alone, so that was a fun one. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Do you remember the John Krasinski movie we saw in 2012?
Oh my god, yes!
Yeah. Never seen again.
2012 too?
What?
That was from 2012?
That was 2012, yeah. I think it was called like Nobody Walks. Yeah. And I think he directed it. Yeah.
Oh my god, yes! Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow, I totally forgot about that.
I know.
I gotta go to IMDb.
We're going to have to dig in the archives because this has been great. Not even just talking about the first time, but just like our Sundance and film school years.
Oh, God. Really.
I know.
I mean, just... No, it wasn't. He didn't direct it.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Lena Dunham wrote it, though.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I don't like
All
her.
right.
I think she's
Yeah. No, I'm not getting into that here. Marge, we've gone well over an hour now. So, to come full circle and to wrap things up, I just want to ask my final question, which is what I ask for everyone. Why does the first time matter to you?
So it's funny that you have this last question. It's the one that I didn't write an answer for.
Okay.
Because I was just like,
you just speak from the heart here.
well, yeah, no, and I definitely, but I had such a hard time thinking about it because I'm like, there's so much sentimental value to it, given seeing it with a friend at Sundance, getting to experience it there, just how it made me feel about think about the John Hughes movies, right? It had that very similar feel. So it's just one of those movies that's just been cemented into me, because of my experiences seeing it at Sundance and all of that, and I just think, I don't know, it's just one of those movies that's will be on my list forever.
Yeah.
It will always be just, one of those fun, oh yeah, I want to watch them say Drain Lil Wayne, it's just fun, it's...
What's the John Cusack experience? I think it's his band.
I think it's the name of his band.
Yeah. No, I feel the same. It's not a movie that I flock to a lot, but when I watch it, I really enjoy it, and I do have a lot of sentimental value to it because I was very fortunate to see it at Sundance with a friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to make me cry on my own podcast, I swear to God. Not today.
It is. It's got that sentimental value. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
We talk about, do you remember before it came out, we were well, I think probably me more than you, but I was freaking out because I'm I need this movie out now.
Yeah.
And we would talk about it all the time. Anytime we saw an update.
Yeah. No, I remember going back and forth it's coming to DVD.
Yeah. Sony Pictures Classics picked it up.
Yeah.
We're getting somewhere.
Yeah, we're going. It's getting out of there. But yeah. Very important film that I saw with my friend Marge.
It is.
And the future Captain America.
I'm the future Captain. We experienced the movie at the same time. Just let that sit in.
Yeah.
Okay?
I wonder if Anthony Mackie remembers the movie. We'll never find out.
I don't know.
Yeah. Tom might have found out.
Honest answer? Probably no.
Yeah. I mean, Tom could have asked him. We'll never know.
He could have.
Yeah. Marge, this is wonderful.
Yes, it was. This was so much fun. I had so much fun taking notes for this. I felt like I was in school again.
Don't say that.
No, but in a good way.
Okay.
I was thinking back to Becky's class. Did I think it was I don't remember what the name of it was, but that was one of my favorite classes because we would watch them and then analyze them and talk about them, the themes and everything. That's when we watched Hurt Locker. That's
analysis of the moving image. FBI 340.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's why I enjoyed this. I took so many notes and seeing this movie so many times. Never done that before.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah. I already know when you come back for another one, we're gonna go well over an hour because I already know what you want to talk about. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Breakfast Club.
Perfect. All right. Folks, thank you for listening to another episode of Movies That Matter. Nothing set in stone for our next installment, but if all goes according to plan, I hope it's going to be popular. Make of that what you will. But I hope today we could introduce you to a new film to add to your watch list. If you would like to get in touch with me about the show, you can reach me either at Gmail or Instagram at Movies That Matter Pod. And don't forget, you could find the show on YouTube and Spotify now. You can also be my friend on Letterboxd at Chris Loves Films. My last 4 watches were, unsurprisingly, the first time, Disney's Fun and Fancy Free, the Banksy documentary, and the focus of our last episode, Exit Through the Gift Shop, and John Hughes's Don't Judge Me, Home Alone. We just took the Christmas tree down last week. It was a winter. What can I say? I haven't watched too much since recording this last episode, clearly. But folks, the real world is scary. Don't forget to love each other. And when life gets too scary, immerse yourself in your favorite movie or piece of media. Don't worry about box office numbers or Rotten Tomato scores. Watch what you love. Entertainment is subjective, and that's not a bad thing. Until next time, this has been Chris Flaherty. Thanks for listening to Movies That Matter.